Faith Hedgepeth was born in 1992 in Warren County, North Carolina, and was part of the Haliwa-Saponi Native American tribe. Her mother, Connie Hedgepeth, named her Faith because she believed that's what she needed to raise a fourth child with a husband who had a drug problem. Faith's parents divorced shortly after she was born, and her mother and sister raised her in Hollister and Warrenton, North Carolina. Faith did well in high school. She was an honor student, a cheerleader, and a member of many extracurricular clubs and organizations. She even earned a Gates Millennium Scholarship to attend the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Her father had attended the same university but had dropped out. She wanted to be the first in her family to graduate from college. Her dream was to become a pediatrician or teacher. In August 2012, the summer before her junior year at the university, Faith lived in an off-campus apartment with her friend Karina Rosario. A third roommate named Eric Turcoy Jones had once dated Karina, but due to domestic violence, had been asked to leave after the pair broke up. However, he had twice attempted to break into the apartment in early July 2012 after Rosario changed the locks. Faith drove Karina to court to get an order of protection that required Eric to stay away from the apartment. Eric resented Faith's influence over his ex and threatened to kill her if he could not get back together with Karina. On the night of September 6, 2012, at 5:45 p.m., Faith attended a rush event for the Native American sorority she hoped to join, Alpha Pi Omega. At 7:15, she left to work on a paper she was writing about the history of her tribe. Faith and Karina went to the university's Davis Library to study together. Between 8:30 and 9 p.m., she texted her father about her hopes of making the sorority. Hedgepeth and Rosario returned to their apartment together around midnight. A half hour later, they left for The Thrill, a popular nightclub that was located in downtown Chapel Hill, which let in customers under the legal drinking age of 21. The two women arrived at The Thrill around 12:40 a.m. After about an hour and a half of dancing, the roommates left the club at 2:06 a.m. By 3 a.m., Faith and Karina had returned to their apartment. At 3:40 a.m., a text was sent from Faith's phone to that of Brandon Edwards, another former boyfriend of Rosario. The text said, quote, "Hey B, can you come over here please? Rosario needs you more than you know. Please let her know you care." End quote. That was the last evidence of activity from her phone. Rosario's phone records show she was also trying to call Edwards around the same time. He did not answer, so she called Jordan McCrary, a UNC-Chapel soccer player she knew. At 4:25 a.m., Karina left the apartment and got into McCrary's car. At that time, Faith was asleep in her room. Rosario left the apartment's door unlocked. Jordan drove Karina to another friend's home, where she spent the rest of the night and early morning. Around 10:30 a.m., she attempted to reach Faith, who did not answer. Rosario called another friend, Marisol Rangel, who came and took her back to her apartment. They entered the apartment shortly before 11 a.m. and found Faith's bloodied body wrapped in a quilt and partially nude. They immediately dialed 911. Faith had been beaten over the head with a blunt instrument. The object in question was an empty Bacardi bottle, and evidence of semen and male DNA was also present at the crime scene. A note was left near the body, believed to be written by the killer, and it suggested there may have been jealousy involved in the crime. The message read, "I'm not stupid, bitch, jealous." It was poorly written in ballpoint pen on a torn-off bottom of a white paper bag commonly used for takeout food. Police believe the bag may have come from Time Out, a popular 24-hour restaurant in Chapel Hill that would have been the only place open when Hedgepeth and Rosario left The Thrill. It used those same bags and was a short distance away from the nightclub. Interestingly, the note was clean of the blood found splattered all over the room, suggesting it was written either away from the crime scene or beforehand. The writer may have been using their non-dominant hand to disguise their handwriting. Jones seemed to be a solid suspect once police learned of his history of domestic violence and his threat against Hedgepeth. They also found that the night before, around 6 p.m., he had texted an acquaintance asking for forgiveness, quote, "for what I'm about to do," end quote. Police asked for a DNA sample from Jones, who complied after some initial resistance. His DNA did not match the sample from the apartment, and they excluded him as a suspect. DNA from Edwards and many other men whom police found had been at the Thrill during the same time as Rosario and Hedgepeth was also tested with the same result. Despite all the forensic evidence, the case went cold. However, on September 16, 2021, 9 years after the murder, the Chapel Hill Police Department arrested 28-year-old Miguel Salguero Alvarez. He had not been a suspect initially, but was identified through DNA samples after having been arrested on a drunk driving charge the month before. According to court documents released in January 2022, the DNA found at the scene and the palm print on the murder weapon matched Salguero Alvarez. In a statement, the police asked the public to bear with them as they sorted out the details. This case is currently pending in the courts at the time of this recording. Leave your thoughts in the comments below.